Have you ever felt like someone was watching you when you were completely alone? That invisible weight pressing down on your chest, the sound of breathing in an empty room, the shadow that lingers even after you turn the light on. I used to think it was my imagination. Until the night I discovered the demon that lived in my room. It started 2 years ago when I moved into a small, old house on the outskirts of town. Rent was cheap, almost suspiciously cheap, but I was desperate. I was working 2 part-time jobs, trying to survive college, and this place was the only one I could afford. The landlord, an older man with pale skin and tired eyes, hesitated when I signed the lease. He said, "Don't use the back bedroom." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. But he just stared at me, dead serious. That back bedroom, of course, was the only one big enough to fit my bed and desk. I told myself he was just superstitious. After all, old houses always have rumors. Ghost stories. Urban legends. The first night seemed normal. I set up my things, opened the dusty curtains, and unpacked my books. But the room felt heavy. The air was colder there, thicker, as if the walls themselves were watching me. The first week was uneventful, but little things started happening. My keys weren't where I left them. My books fell from the shelf at night. The closet door, which I always kept shut, was cracked open every morning. At first, I thought it was just me being careless. But then came the whispers. Late at night, just before sleep pulled me under, I heard a voice. Not loud, but a low hiss. It would say my name. Not once. Not twice. Over and over. Daniel. Daniel. I froze. I lived alone. When I sat up, the room was empty. Silence. The shadows in the corner stretched long, almost too long. The next morning, I convinced myself I'd dreamed it. Stress. Exhaustion. But deep down, I knew. By the second month, I started noticing shadows moving on their own. At first, it was subtle, a flicker in the corner of my eye, like someone passing behind me. But soon it was impossible to ignore. One night, while studying at my desk, I saw it clearly. A dark figure standing in the reflection of my window. It was tall, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, with arms far too long. I spun around. Nothing. Just the room. But the reflection remained. I slammed the curtains shut. That night, I didn't sleep. A week later, I woke to a sound that still chills me to this day, scratching. It was coming from inside the walls. Slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across wood. I pressed my ear against the wall. It stopped. When I turned back toward my bed, the closet door was wide open. Inside, I saw nothing but darkness. But it felt like something was crouching there, waiting for me to step closer. I shut the door and shoved a chair under the handle. I didn't sleep a second that night. Things escalated quickly after that. Every night, I woke up around 3 a.m., the so-called witching hour. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. My entire body was frozen. But I could see. And what I saw was the shadow. It stood at the foot of my bed, watching. Its head tilted, its body swaying like a puppet. Then it crawled. Slowly, painfully, onto my chest. Its face hovered inches from mine. Eyes like burning coals. A mouth that opened far too wide. It whispered. "You belong to me now." I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. That wasn't a dream. I knew it wasn't. Terrified, I started researching the house. I discovered that 30 years ago, a man had lived there with his wife and daughter. He became obsessed with demons, dark rituals, and the idea of immortality. The night I decided to leave, everything came crashing down. I had packed my bags, ready to move out the next morning. But at 3 a.m., the air turned icy cold. My breath fogged in front of me. The scratching started again. This time, louder. Faster. Coming from all sides. The lights flickered. My closet door burst open on its own. And then I saw it, the demon. Not just a shadow this time. It was real. Flesh twisted, black skin stretched thin over bone, its mouth splitting into a grin that dripped with black tar. It rushed toward me. Neighbors claimed he sacrificed animals in the basement. Eventually, his wife and daughter vanished. Their bodies were never found. And one night, he hung himself in the very room I now slept in. I screamed, grabbed my bag, and bolted out of the room. The front door slammed shut behind me as if the house itself wanted me trapped. But somehow, I escaped. I never went back. People ask me why I left that house so suddenly. I tell them the rent went up. I tell them I wanted a better neighborhood. But the truth? The truth is that something still lives in that room. Something that feeds on fear. And sometimes, when I wake up in the middle of the night in my new apartment, I still hear scratching in the walls.